Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and feel the quiet strength that lives within you, the part of you that has always whispered, I can, I will, I am enough. Confidence is not a loud proclamation. It is a gentle, unwavering heartbeat that carries you through storms, that lifts you when the world doubts, and that turns your dreams from whispers into reality. It is the light that shines from your soul, guiding your steps even when the path is unclear. Today, I invite you to journey with me into that power, to discover how believing in yourself, not in the applause of others, but in the steady voice of your own spirit, can change your life in ways you never imagined. Confidence is the spark that ignites your inner light. It is not a gift handed to you by the world, nor is it a crown to be worn only when others applaud. It is a quiet, steady flame that lives within, waiting for you to recognize its warmth. When you dare to step forward, even while the world doubts, that spark grows brighter, casting away shadows of fear and hesitation. It whispers to your heart, reminding you that you are capable, that you are worthy, and that your presence alone matters. There will be days when the voices around you try to dim that light, when the world questions your worth and measures your dreams against standards that do not belong to you. But confidence is the shield that protects your spirit. It is the courage to rise again and again after failure, after disappointment, after moments when you feel small. Each time you choose to believe in yourself, you are telling the universe that your path is valid, your dreams are sacred, and your voice deserves to be heard. Confidence is not about perfection. It is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It is about moving forward in spite of them. It is about holding your head high when the world shakes beneath your feet, and finding your rhythm when the melody of life seems out of tune. It is in the way you speak your truth, in the way you carry your heart without apology, in the way you honor the unique gift that is you. Each small step you take towards self-belief is a revolution, a reclamation of power that has always been yours. And as your confidence grows, something beautiful happens. It begins to touch others. The courage that lives in you becomes a beacon, lighting the way for those who have forgotten their own strength. When you walk with assurance, when you embrace your worth, you inspire those around you to do the same. You show them that life is not about waiting for permission, but about claiming the power that already resides in their own hearts. The light of confidence is contagious. It spreads, it multiplies, and it changes the landscape of every life it encounters. So I ask you to nurture that spark. Feed it with words of affirmation, with acts of courage, with the quiet acknowledgement that you are enough, here and now. Let it guide your decisions, shape your actions, and illuminate the path toward your greatest dreams. Confidence is not a destination to reach. It is a journey to walk every single day. And when you walk it with faith in yourself, you will discover that life bends toward the brave. Doors that seemed closed swing open, and the impossible becomes possible. Remember, the spark was always inside you. It was never lost, only waiting for you to recognize it, to honor it, and to let it shine. Confidence is the gift you give yourself, the light you carry into the world, and the power that can truly change your life. Stand tall, believe boldly, and let that inner light blaze. For in doing so, you will not only transform your own life, you will transform the lives of all who have the privilege to witness your courage. Believing in yourself changes the way the world sees you, for perception is a mirror that reflects what you carry within. When you walk with quiet assurance, when your gaze is steady and your shoulders are unburdened by doubt, people notice, even before you speak a single word. There is a magnetic force in self-belief, a rhythm that cannot be taught but must be felt. It tells others, without utterance, that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you have the strength to move mountains and the courage to embrace storms. The world will often try to label you, to define your limits, to measure your dreams against rules that do not belong to you. Yet when you carry yourself with confidence, when you honor the truth of your being, those labels fall away. People begin to see your potential, your possibilities, your power. They recognize the spark within, the quiet light that cannot be hidden. And in seeing you clearly, they begin to treat you differently, offering respect, attention, and opportunities that may have seemed impossible before. Believing in yourself is not arrogance. It is not a boastful declaration meant to overshadow others. It is a deep and unshakable understanding that your voice matters, that your presence has value, and that your dreams are worthy of pursuit. It is the courage to stand in a room of doubt and still smile, knowing that your purpose cannot be erased by the skepticism of others. This belief shifts perception because it is authentic, grounded, and undeniable. People do not resist the force of someone who truly knows their worth. When you carry self-belief, your actions become statements that speak louder than words. You no longer wait for permission to pursue your calling. You do not shrink to fit the comfort of others. You move with a certainty that others can feel, and in that movement, they begin to recognize your competence, your vision, and your determination. They see what you see in yourself, and suddenly, the world begins to align with your inner truth. Belief in yourself transforms every interaction. Conversations are no longer battles for approval, but exchanges of mutual respect. Challenges are no longer threats, but invitations to demonstrate your strength. Opportunities that once seemed distant or closed off appear as doors waiting for your courage to turn the handle. This is the power of self-belief. It not only changes how you see yourself, but it changes how the world sees you, and it changes the very shape of your life. So nurture your belief. Feed it with reminders of your accomplishments, with courage in moments of doubt, and with the quiet affirmation that you are enough, exactly as you are. Let it grow, let it shine, and let it guide your every step. The world may not always understand your vision, but when you believe in yourself, you become undeniable. Your light will pierce the darkness, your voice will echo through uncertainty, and your life will unfold in ways that honor the truth of your heart. Stand tall, walk boldly, and believe with all that you are, for in doing so, the world will finally see you as you were always meant to be seen. Fear is a companion that walks with every human heart, whispering doubts, questioning worth, and shaking the ground beneath our feet. Yet confidence has the power to transform that fear into something alive, something that pushes rather than paralyzes. It is not the absence of fear that marks a courageous life, but the courage to move forward despite it. When you embrace your confidence, fear becomes fuel. It ignites determination, sharpens focus, and turns hesitation into motion. The trembling in your hands, the racing of your heart, these are not signs of weakness, but the raw material of your awakening. Each challenge you face carries within it a lesson, a door to growth, and a chance to discover the depth of your own resilience. Confidence allows you to meet these challenges head on, to lift your chin and say, I am ready, I am able, I will not be defeated. Fear will try to convince you to retreat, to shrink, to fade into the safety of the unseen. But confidence whispers, step forward, take the leap, let your spirit soar. It turns hesitation into action, doubt into exploration, and uncertainty into a canvas for your courage. When fear becomes fuel, even the smallest victories carry the weight of transformation. Each time you rise after a setback, each time you speak your truth when silence feels safer, each time you walk into a room unsure yet unyielding, you are feeding that fire. Confidence does not remove the obstacles from your path. It gives you the wings to rise above them, the clarity to see opportunity where others see only walls, and the strength to turn trials into triumphs. Confidence also transforms the way you view yourself in moments of struggle. Fear may make you feel small, unworthy, or incapable, but confidence reminds you of the reservoir of power that has always lived inside you. It teaches you that courage is not born from perfection, but from the willingness to stand when trembling, to move when uncertain, and to speak when silence seems safer. Fear is no longer an enemy, but a teacher, a guide, a spark that lights the engine of your progress. And as you continue to convert fear into fuel, life itself begins to change. You start to see doors where there were walls, paths where there were obstacles, and possibilities where there was doubt. Confidence becomes your companion, your ally, and your map through storms. You learn that courage is contagious, that your willingness to step forward inspires others to rise, and that every act of bravery, no matter how small, carries the power to transform not only your life, but the lives of those who witness it. So do not run from fear. Do not shrink from the trembling, the unease, the uncertainty. Let it meet the fire of your confidence. Let it become the wind beneath your wings, the fuel that propels you forward, and the rhythm that guides your steps toward your dreams. When confidence and fear walk together, you are unstoppable, and the life you imagine, the life you deserve, unfolds before you with a brilliance that is impossible to ignore. Confidence changes the way we connect with the world, for it begins with the simple yet profound act of valuing ourselves. When you honor your own worth, when you treat yourself with respect and kindness, the people around you cannot help but take notice. Relationships are mirrors, and they reflect back the energy we carry. If you walk through life carrying doubt, hesitation, or insecurity, you invite the same into your interactions. But when you carry confidence, when you stand tall in your truth, the vibration of your self-assurance touches every soul you meet. People are drawn to it, not because it demands attention, but because it radiates authenticity, warmth, and strength. When you love yourself, you set the standard for how others will treat you. You no longer tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or neglect because your inner voice has taught you that you deserve better. Confidence allows you to navigate relationships with clarity and courage. You listen without fear, speak without apology, and engage without pretense. It is in these moments that trust blooms, trust not only in you, but in the bonds you share. When you know your value, you are free to give freely, to care deeply, and to form connections that are real, mutual, and nurturing. Confidence does not make relationships easier, it makes them healthier. It allows you to communicate openly, to express needs and boundaries without guilt, and to approach conflict with the knowledge that your dignity is intact. It teaches patience, understanding, and compassion because you no longer act from fear, jealousy, or insecurity. Instead, you act from a place of strength, choice, and love. Those who encounter your confidence begin to mirror it. They respond with honesty, with respect, and with a willingness to meet you where you stand. Slowly, the dynamics of your interactions transform, and relationships that once felt draining or chaotic begin to thrive. This transformation is subtle yet powerful. You notice it in the small gestures: friends who honor your time, colleagues who recognize your ideas, partners who see you as whole. Confidence draws people not because it intimidates, but because it inspires. It shows that life can be lived with integrity, that boundaries can exist without fear, and that respect is a reflection of self-love. The people who matter will rise to meet you, and those who cannot will gently fall away, leaving space for relationships that nourish, uplift, and celebrate the true essence of who you are. As your confidence deepens, it also teaches forgiveness and grace. You understand that every soul carries its own burdens, its own doubts, and its own fears. You no longer seek validation from those who cannot offer it, and you no longer diminish your worth for the comfort of others. Instead, you cultivate connections rooted in honesty, empathy, and mutual respect. You see clearly who aligns with your energy, who adds to your life, and who is meant to walk beside you. Confidence becomes the compass of your relationships, guiding you toward love that is expansive, empowering, and unwavering. And so, in valuing yourself, in trusting your own heart, and honoring your own voice, you transform every connection you touch. You become a magnet for respect, a beacon of trust, and a source of positive energy. Your relationships cease to drain and begin to uplift, and in that transformation, you see the profound truth. Confidence does not just change your life, it changes the way the world moves through you. Confidence is the key that opens doors the world once told you were locked. It is the quiet assurance that whispers to you, even when the path seems closed, step forward, for you belong here. Opportunities are not always handed to us. Sometimes they hide behind doubt, hesitation, or fear. But when you walk with certainty, when you carry the unshakable belief in your own worth and your own abilities, those doors begin to shift, creak, and swing open. The world responds to courage, to conviction, and to the radiant power of someone who refuses to doubt their place in it. When you present yourself with confidence, you do more than seek opportunity. You become visible to it. People notice the way you carry yourself, the way you speak with purpose, the way your eyes reflect the fire of your dreams. They begin to see not just what you are, but what you are capable of becoming. Jobs, invitations, partnerships, and chances that once seemed distant now appear as if they were waiting for your arrival. Confidence is not about forcing the world to comply. It is about aligning yourself with the currents of possibility that were always meant to find you. Yet creating opportunity is not only about external doors, it is about internal courage. It is about daring to pursue your dreams even when the path is uncertain, about taking risks that feel uncomfortable, about saying yes to experiences that stretch the limits of who you think you are. Confidence turns hesitation into action, fear into momentum, and doubt into determination. Every step you take with belief in yourself is a step closer to the life that you imagine, a life where doors no longer feel barred but invite you to enter. Confidence also teaches patience and persistence. Opportunity rarely comes all at once or on our schedule. Sometimes it hides, testing our commitment, waiting for us to prove that we are ready. And when we persist, when we refuse to shrink from challenges, those doors swing open not by chance, but because we have prepared ourselves to meet them with strength, vision, and grace. Each small act of courage, each choice to show up fully, builds momentum, and soon the world begins to respond to the force of our belief. And as you continue to walk in confidence, you discover a truth that changes everything. Opportunity is not a singular event, but a way of living. It is in the friendships you cultivate, the ideas you express, the projects you dare to start, and the paths you choose to explore. Confidence does not merely open doors, it allows you to see them, to recognize them, and to step through them fully. Life begins to align itself around your courage, and you realize that the world was never as locked as it seemed. The key was always within you. So stand tall, trust your own strength, and present yourself boldly to the world. Let your confidence be the light that reveals hidden doors, the wind that carries you forward, and the force that transforms potential into reality. Opportunities are everywhere, waiting for those brave enough to claim them. And when you walk with certainty in your heart, the life you have imagined is no longer a dream. It is a journey unfolding before your very eyes. Confidence is not a solitary gift. It is a light that radiates beyond the self and touches every soul around you. When you believe in your worth and embrace your courage, you become a living example of possibility. People watch, they listen, they feel the energy you carry, and in that quiet witnessing, something remarkable happens. They begin to believe in themselves. Confidence has a ripple effect. It does not demand attention or applause, yet it draws others toward it, like moths to a flame, awakening in them the courage they thought they had lost. Every act of bravery, every choice to speak your truth, every time you stand tall when the world seems ready to push you down, becomes a beacon. Your courage whispers to those who are struggling, you can rise too, you are capable, you are enough. And often, people do not even realize the power of your example, the way a single moment of self-assurance can spark a revolution in someone else's life. Confidence inspires because it is contagious. It reminds us of what is possible when fear is met with faith and doubt is met with determination. There is a quiet magic in showing others that life can be met with strength and grace. When you walk forward despite uncertainty, when you take risks others shy away from, when you refuse to diminish your light to make someone else comfortable, you become proof that courage and resilience are not abstract ideals. They are living, breathing realities. Others see that, and in seeing, they begin to act. They lift their heads, straighten their shoulders, and take steps they once believed were beyond their reach. Confidence does not simply change your life, it changes the lives of all who encounter it. And it is not only in grand gestures that confidence inspires. Sometimes it is the subtle ways we carry ourselves, the calm in our voice, the steadiness in our gaze, the gentle assurance that we can face the day with dignity and resolve. These quiet expressions ripple outward, teaching patience, humility, and courage. They remind those around us that strength is not loud or aggressive. It is firm, steady, and rooted in truth. By showing up fully, by honoring our own worth, we encourage others to honor theirs. As your confidence grows, so does your ability to lift others without diminishing yourself. You begin to understand that inspiring others is not about teaching or directing, but about living authentically, about demonstrating the beauty and power of self-belief. Each time someone sees you rise, each time they witness your resilience, they are invited to rise too. And in that shared ascent, a quiet transformation occurs. Confidence becomes a community, a shared energy that multiplies, uplifts, and strengthens every person it touches. So do not hide your light. Let your courage blaze. Let your belief in yourself shine. And know that in doing so, you are igniting fires in hearts beyond your own. Confidence inspires because it is real, it is visible, and it is unwavering. When you stand in your truth, you give others permission to stand in theirs. And in that, the world begins to change, one courageous soul at a time. Confidence allows you to stand in the fullness of who you are without apology. It teaches you that you do not need to perform for the approval of others, that your worth is not measured by applause or recognition, but by the quiet knowing that you are enough. When you embrace your true self, you begin to live with honesty, shedding the masks you once wore to fit in, to be liked, or to avoid judgment. Each act of authenticity becomes a declaration, a gentle but powerful reminder that the life you were meant to live is not a performance. It is a truth. Living authentically requires courage, for the world often rewards conformity and discourages individuality. Yet confidence gives you the strength to move beyond fear, to honor your own voice, and to express the deepest parts of your soul without hesitation. It is in the embrace of your imperfections, your quirks, and your passions that authenticity blooms. When you stop bending to the expectations of others, when you choose to act from your own values, your life begins to align with the purpose and meaning that has always been waiting for you. Confidence fosters authenticity because it removes the need for validation from the outside. You no longer measure your choices by how others will react, nor do you shrink to make others comfortable. You walk through life guided by the steady compass of your own heart, knowing that truth is more enduring than approval, and integrity is more powerful than praise. In this space, your actions, words, and decisions carry a weight and clarity that only authenticity can bring. You become someone whose presence is felt not for its performative energy, but for its realness, its honesty, and its depth. When you live authentically, you invite others to do the same. People are drawn not to perfection, but to the courage it takes to be real. Your willingness to show your true self, to speak your truth, and to honor your own path inspires those around you to shed their own masks. Confidence becomes the gentle teacher that reminds others that they too can live without fear of judgment, that they can pursue their dreams without apology, and that their worth is inherent, not conditional. In this way, authenticity multiplies, creating ripples of courage and integrity that touch lives in ways you may never fully see. Authenticity also brings freedom. When you stop performing, when you release the burden of seeking constant approval, life feels lighter, richer, and more vibrant. Relationships deepen because they are built on truth rather than expectation. Decisions become clearer because they are rooted in values rather than fear. And joy becomes more accessible because it is no longer filtered through the lens of how others might perceive it. Confidence allows you to claim this freedom, to live fully in your own skin, and to honor the person you were always meant to be. So embrace the courage that confidence offers. Step into your truth, even when it feels vulnerable. Let go of the need to impress or to perform, and let the life you live be the life you were born to create. Confidence fosters authenticity because it reminds you again and again that you are enough, that your voice matters, and that the most powerful way to impact the world is by being unapologetically, unshakably, and beautifully yourself. Confidence is not a trophy to be won, nor a medal to be displayed. It is a journey, a quiet, steady unfolding that takes root in the small choices we make each day. It grows not in grand moments alone, but in the accumulation of courage, in the whispers of self-belief that push us to rise again, to speak again, to try again. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a thread in the fabric of a life lived boldly, authentically, and without apology. There is no finish line, no moment when confidence is finally complete. It is a lifelong practice, an ever-deepening rhythm that asks for patience, persistence, and faith in oneself. Each day brings with it opportunities to nurture that confidence. In the mornings when you look in the mirror and remind yourself of your worth, in the moments when you choose action over fear, in the decisions to stand for your truth despite uncertainty, you are practicing the art of belief. And like any practice, it grows stronger with repetition. A single act of courage may feel insignificant at first, but when multiplied over time, these small victories become the foundation of a spirit that cannot be shaken. Confidence is built quietly in the repetition of choosing yourself, honoring your values, and trusting your voice. It is also a practice of forgiveness of yourself and others. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when fear whispers that you are not enough, and when the world seems determined to remind you of your limitations. In those moments, confidence is the choice to stand anyway, to rise in spite of uncertainty, and to remember that growth is not linear. Each stumble, each moment of hesitation is not failure, it is practice. It is the soil in which resilience grows, the canvas on which your courage is painted, and the lesson that reminds you that strength is forged, not given.